Okay, so you want to own a vending machine route? You buy a few machines, fill them with chips and drinks, place them in busy buildings, and come back every week to collect the cash. Simple, right? Except the US vending machine industry generates roughly $20 billion a year, with hundreds of thousands of machines operating across the country. And some of the largest vending operators manage tens of thousands of machines and generate hundreds of millions of dollars in annual sales. But here's the part that gets missed. A vending machine doesn't make money because it's a vending machine. It makes money because of where it sits, how often people use it, and how cheaply you can keep it stocked. You can own 100 machines and still build a terrible business. Or you can own 50 machines on the right routes and create a very profitable little distribution company. Understand the route, and you understand the business. Miss it, and you'll spend your days driving a van around town just to discover you've bought yourself a very expensive job. The reason vending works is almost embarrassingly simple. People get hungry, people get thirsty, and people will pay for convenience. You see a vending machine in an office, warehouse, hospital, university, hotel, apartment complex, or manufacturing plant. You put in a few dollars, you get a drink or a snack, transaction over, but you're probably thinking the customer is the person buying the Coke. Technically, yes. Economically, your real customer is the location, because without the location, you have nothing. A machine sitting in your garage is worth almost nothing compared with the same machine sitting inside a factory where 800 employees work 3 shifts a day. And that's why the vending business is really a location acquisition business disguised as a snack business. The demand is also remarkably durable. People still eat during recessions. Workers still need drinks. Hospital visitors still want coffee and snacks. Warehouses still have employees taking breaks. And in 2025 and 2026, you're also seeing a shift toward cashless vending. Modern machines increasingly accept cards, phones, and contactless payments. That matters because the average customer doesn't need to have a pocket full of coins anymore. But not all vending businesses are the same. At the low end, you have traditional snack and drink machines. These are relatively cheap to enter, but you're competing on location and volume. A decent machine might generate $300 to $800 in monthly gross sales. A great location can push that well above $1,000. Then you have premium vending, fresh food, coffee, healthier products, or refrigerated meals. Your average transaction can be higher, but spoilage becomes a serious problem. Then there's micro-market vending. Instead of putting 40 snacks behind a glass door, you create a miniature self-service convenience store inside an office or workplace. Shelves, refrigerators, a kiosk or smartphone payment system. A good micro-market can generate several $1,000s a month from one location, but installation can easily cost $5,000 to $20,000 or more. And then there's the model most beginners don't think about, route ownership. You're not really trying to get rich from one machine. You're building a network of machines close enough together that one driver can service them efficiently. That distinction changes everything. Because the basic business model is this. You buy a machine, you place it somewhere with traffic, you fill it with products, your customer buys those products. You keep the difference between the selling price and your product, location, labor, fuel, maintenance, and overhead costs. The single most important number is sales per machine per month. Not the number of machines, sales per machine. Imagine you own 50 machines. Each machine averages $700 a month. That's $35,000 in monthly revenue. Now imagine your average product cost is 45%. That's $15,750 gone immediately. You might pay another 10% in commissions to locations or $3,500. Fuel, vehicle costs, repairs, payment processing, insurance, spoilage, and other operating expenses might consume another $5,000. You're left with roughly $10,750 before taxes, debt service, and owner compensation. Now watch what happens if your average machine falls from $700 to $500. Your revenue drops from $35,000 to $25,000, but your van still needs fuel. Your insurance bill didn't fall by 29%. Your route still needs to be serviced. Your machines still need electricity. Your time hasn't suddenly become cheaper. That $10,000 revenue decline can wipe out a disproportionately large amount of your profit. This is why vending is a volume business with operating leverage. The fixed costs don't move much, your revenue does. And every extra dollar of sales from an already efficient route can be worth far more than the first dollar from a brand new machine. So, what does it actually take to get in? A basic used snack or beverage machine might cost you roughly $1,000 to $3,000. A newer combination machine can easily cost $4,000 to $8,000. Specialized refrigerated machines can run higher. Then you need inventory. If you're starting with 20 machines, putting $100 to $200 of product into each machine gives you another $2,000 to $4,000 tied up in inventory. You'll probably need a cargo van. A used commercial van in 2026 might put you somewhere around $20,000 to $35,000, depending on age, mileage, and condition. You also need insurance, business registration, payment processing equipment, shelving, storage space, fuel, spare parts, and working capital. And then there's the part beginners consistently underestimate: getting the location. You can buy the best vending machine in the world. It doesn't matter if nobody walks past it. A location with 500 employees isn't automatically good either. If those employees work remotely 3 days a week, have a subsidized cafeteria, and leave the building for lunch, your machine might become an expensive piece of furniture. You want density, you want dwell time, and ideally, you want limited alternatives. That could mean a manufacturing facility with 600 employees and no cafeteria, a hospital with visitors around the clock, a hotel with hundreds of guests, an apartment complex far from convenience stores, or a warehouse where employees have limited time to leave the property. And there are legal requirements too. Depending on your location, you'll need business registration, sales tax compliance, vending or food permits, health permits for certain products, and potentially additional approvals if you're selling fresh food. Some municipalities also impose specific vending machine regulations, and if you place machines inside someone else's property, your location agreement matters. Who pays for electricity? Who handles theft? Can they terminate the agreement? Are you paying a fixed rent or 5%, 10%, even 20% of sales? Those details can change your economics dramatically. Now, let's build a realistic route. Say you want to start with 25 machines. You buy 15 used machines at $2,000 each. That's $30,000. Then you buy 10 newer machines at $4,000 each. Another $40,000. You've spent $70,000 on equipment. Your used cargo van costs $25,000. Initial inventory is $5,000. Payment systems and installation average $300 per machine. That's another $7,500. Insurance, registration, permits, storage deposits, shelving, tools, spare parts, and miscellaneous setup costs might add another $7,500. Now you're at roughly $115,000, and you haven't paid yourself. That's the real startup number. Could you do it for $20,000? Absolutely. But then you're probably starting with a handful of machines and doing almost everything yourself. And that isn't necessarily bad. In fact, it can be smarter because you can learn which locations work before putting $100,000 into a route. Now imagine those 25 machines average $800 a month. That's $20,000 in monthly gross sales. At a 45% product cost, you've got $11,000 left. Assume locations receive 10%, that's another $2,000. Now you're at $9,000. Take out fuel, maintenance, payment processing, insurance, spoilage, vehicle expenses, storage, and other overhead. You might realistically end up with several $1,000s a month in operating profit before taxes and financing. That's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but now imagine you scale from 25 machines to 100. If you can maintain the same $800 average, you're talking about $80,000 a month in gross sales. The problem is that you now need more inventory, more warehouse capacity, more vehicles, and eventually employees. So scaling doesn't mean simply buying more machines. It means building a route that can handle more machines without your labor costs exploding. And this is where the big operators pull away. Companies like Canteen operate at enormous scale, serving workplaces and institutions across the country. They have purchasing power, they have established routes, they have technology, they can spread administrative and logistics costs across thousands of locations. You can't compete with that on price. You compete by being smaller and faster. You can negotiate with a local factory that doesn't want a national vending contract. You can replace a machine the same afternoon. You can offer a better product mix. You can personally know the facility manager. That local relationship can be worth more than a sophisticated corporate system. But there are risks. The first is location concentration. If one factory represents 15% of your route's revenue and that factory closes, your economics can collapse overnight. The second is product spoilage. Fresh food can have excellent margins on paper and terrible margins when half of it ends up in the trash. The third is theft and vandalism. A $5,000 machine sitting unattended in the wrong location isn't just an asset. It's a target. And then there's the biggest risk of all, you. If you're driving 40 hours a week, stocking machines, repairing equipment, chasing payments, negotiating locations, and managing inventory, you don't own a passive income business. You own a job with vending machines. The goal is to build density. 10 machines spread across 10 cities is a nightmare. 50 machines within a tight geographic radius can be a business. That's the difference. So, should you own a vending machine route? If you have $20,000 to $50,000, strong sales skills, a willingness to do the route yourself, and the patience to build location density one contract at a time, vending can be an interesting small business opportunity. If you're expecting to buy 10 machines, place them somewhere, and collect passive income while you sleep, stay away. The machines aren't the business. The snacks aren't the business. Even the cash isn't the business. The business is the route. And if you can build a dense route with high sales per machine, low product costs, reliable locations, and enough volume to spread your fixed costs, you don't just own vending machines. You own a small distribution network. That's where the money is.